Hey, good morning. Be smudged. This is copal, which sometimes I think is nicer than sage. Um, Unfortunately, this is the second attempt at this morning's video. I tried recording it, what I did before, on my Chromebook in Zoom, and for whatever reason, maybe it's the built-in speaker in the Chromebook, I don't know. Everything was in and out, and it was completely useless. So I'm having to start over. Well, sorry. So cheers, and let me cut to the chase. The video that I'm working on right now, the researchy, nerdy, archaeo-curious kind of video that I'm working on, is dealing with mysteries around Lake Superior. And certainly one can't deal with anything about the Great Lakes, or certainly Lake Superior, without touching on shipwrecks. And for people of a certain age, anyone pretty much probably over the age of 50, remembers the song on the radio in the 70s, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And that was a song that was about a ship that was built to carry ore on the Great Lakes that hit a squall and met a very unfortunate demise in 1975. And the song came out in 1975 or early 1976 by Gordon Lightfoot, commemorating that those men and that wreck. And that's a song of my childhood. I mean, that song came out when I was 14, 15 years old. So at that very important time in your life, legend lives on from the Chippewa down of a big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up or did when the skies of November turn gloomy. Beautiful song. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you like that kind of folky music, Gordon Lightfoot was a master of the 12-string guitar. He was my first experience listening to a 12-string guitar. Anyway, so I'm working on this video, not just about the Edmund Fitzgerald, but about other shipwrecks and all kinds of interesting things, which I hope you'll enjoy. And that video should be up either tonight or tomorrow. But now this morning, I sat down. This is my second cup of coffee, doing my doodle, my little mandala that I do. As I was drinking my first cup of coffee, which is how I start my day. I make my coffee, I do my doodle, I do some card reading for myself, and things come through. Well, this morning when I was doing my doodle, I started seeing things. I started seeing ships sinking and all kinds of things. And my head started throbbing, and my hands started feeling like there was electricity shooting out of them. And I hate to use these terms, but I realized what was happening is that I was channeling. And so I didn't finish my drawing because everything was coming in so hard and so strong. I mean, literally, I felt like there was electricity shooting out of my hands. I couldn't hold a pen anymore. I couldn't hold my coffee cup. All I could do was lay down. I laid down, I got some tuning forks, and I started working on trying to neutralize all of this in myself and at least get it to a point where I could do something with it. And so what I attempted to do in the earlier recording was do essentially a channeled tarot reading for this frequency that was coming through. And, it didn't work. So there's a reason for that. But I also feel that there's something unfinished here. So I'm trying again. So I'm trying again. We're just going to try again and see what comes, okay? So I'm going to do what I did before, and that is, and I'll let you see all of this. Can you show me yes? Yes is speaking as a clockwise rotation. Can you show me no? No is speaking as a counterclockwise rotation. Is there a frequency from a shipwrecked soul trying to come through? Can you see that that's clockwise, which is yes? Is it the same frequency form as before that was coming through? And again, we have a yes. Is this Mark from the Edmund Fitzgerald? Yes, this is the same form. Do I have the name right? Is this Mark? Okay. So, Mark, can we try another card reading? And that's a very big yes. So, I was in the midst of the reading before, and I started hearing and seeing the name Mark. So, no, I haven't looked on the ship's manifest to see the names of the people that were on the ship, and I'm not going to. But the information that I'm being given is coming through from a form that wants to be referred to as Mark. So there's that. So usually, you don't want to do the same reading twice, but I don't know. This is just an unusual set of circumstances. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to start with the Mausolea deck to get a general mood. So Mark, I'm going to refer to this energy as Mark. Mark, can you give me 3 cards to get us going in the general mood that you would like to pass along, please? What is it that you would like to express general mood, please? Okay, what's nice is we're getting different cards. That would have been really spooky if I got the exact same cards. That would have been really... Oh, it's me! Okay, this is one of the same cards we got before, but not in the shadow position. Okay, so we have Vanth. And what I love about... I don't know how you're really supposed to use these cards, the Mausolea cards. This is how I use them. So you can see it has the name of the being, God, deity, whatever, caretaker of the lost, how it is referred to. And then on the bottom there are 3 concepts. And what I have found out is it's like it represents... the cards are very moral, and when I say moral, I mean that they teach ethical lessons. So the middle term is the fulcrum upon which the 2 other sides shift balance. So the fulcrum for Vanth, who is known as the caretaker of the lost, is assistance. And on fulcruming on assistance are the 2 teeter-totter sides of respite and memory. So now we're talking about a frequency form that is coming through to me. Still, my hands still hurt, and I still have a headache from everything that's coming through. On the fulcrum of assistance, we have respite and memory. Now we're talking about a soul that would have died a very miserable, painful death. Keep in mind that water in Lake Superior, 365 days a year, is between 36 and 39 degrees. No one survived. No one could have survived. They might not have gone down with the ship, but they didn't live very long in the water if they jumped off. The difference would have been they would have frozen to death, which essentially means they would have gone to sleep, as opposed to suffocating. But they all died. And we get a card that is fluctuating between respite and memory. The Maestro. Master of inspiration. The fulcrum is community. The two sides are understanding and ingenuity. And me. They of which I descend from, the Morrigan, the weavers of fate. Her fulcrum is introspection, and we move between antipathy and opposition. The more you go in, the more you realize that everything has a progression of its own. Everything is constantly a shifting of balance, a harmonizing of frequencies. We can affect the progress of things. We can affect the way a cycle moves through its cycle. The more you go in, the more you understand about your ability to influence those things. Do you then either become one who is oppositional and trying to throw wrenches into engines, opposing, or the other side of that is, well, everything is just written the way it is and we can't do anything about it. Yes, the further you go in, the more you understand. Everything is on the inside. Nothing happens out here. Nothing happens out here. Everything happens inside. So, the card in the shadow position, shadow is not bad. I use the Jungian reference of shadow. It is still in undeveloped form. It is not yet in the language of English, for instance, that I am speaking to you. It's not that articulate through any of our systems yet. It is still unformed. It's still malleable. It speaks in dreams, in inspiration, in fear, in lust, in hunger, in desire, in addiction, in a hankering for a particular food or a song or clothes of a certain color. That's how it speaks. That is shadow. And in the shadow position, we have the Mother of Dawn, the emissary, whose fulcrum is agency, and her two sides of the seesaw move between compassion and beauty. Last reading, it was Lilith. So here, this being this frequency group that I am told to refer to as Mark, very similar overall. What I'm getting from this being that I'm going to call Mark, this frequency group, this symphony of harmonies, is not so much that he wants to tell us about him, but more as the way that ancestors speak to us. Ancestors give us wisdom of what they can see and experience from being in the dimension that they are now in. They give us resources and information to use for this state of processing through the learning that we're in here. And that's what I'm getting from Mark as well. He had a great deal of difficulty in the passage of his life, and certainly the life he lived was not an easy one. That's not an easy job for anyone to do. I don't think that anyone takes that job because it's an easy way to make money. It's not easy. I think that they're well paid for their work, but it also destroys many of their health, and it's very risky. Those men died a horrible death. There are 10,000, I learned in my research, noted at least 10,000 shipwrecks at the bottom of all the Great Lakes, and close to 400 are at the bottom of Lake Superior alone. So there's a lot of difficulty, a lot of pain there, and that's just the big shipwrecks. Imagine all the small vessels that have passed. So we have a card that allows us to look at the consideration of being in a position of assistance. Caretaker of the lost. These lost souls, these beings who have lost their lives painfully in this body of water. Loss can be a break, right? Sometimes someone is going through a terrible demise, and I know, I've certainly felt this way. You have too. There is a relief that comes over you when someone finally passes, because they're not suffering anymore. They're not suffering in that bodily way anymore. There is a respite that comes with it. Are we going to turn them into a memory, though? Because if we turn them into a memory, it's sentimentality, right? Where does the assistance come from this lost soul? Does the assistance come from not having to be interlaced in with that 3D suffering anymore? Or is it laced into this sentimentality of the good times? Where do you draw your assistance from this person? That's a consideration you have to make on your own. The respite gives you an opportunity to move into a new understanding of that frequency and your harmony with it. Because they're not gone. They're just not here. They're still here. They're closer to you now than they were before. But that gives you an opportunity to take a break from the interweavings of whatever relationship on earth and entanglements might have been involved in that. That's definitely a respite. Or is it going to be a memory of when it was great? Sentimental, sticky, trying to keep them here in the 3D when they're gone. What are you going to do with that? All of Mark's relatives and the family around him definitely had to go through that. But it speaks too of what he might be trying to share with us now. Maestro. Hinged on community, we have understanding and we have ingenuity. This is the master of inspiration. Well, I definitely think that we're moving into a period of an opportunity to use our inspiration in all new ways. That's a key factor. Those that are doing well right now aren't afraid to use their inspiration. Community is what it's all hinged on, too. Buying from your local farmer's market, to which I will go today after I finish this, as opposed to going to the big grocery store or, worst of all, Walmart. Rebuilding community. Community is a product of inspiration. Understanding and ingenuity. Those are the two sides of the seesaw. Having to balance those, right? Because Walmart, for instance, started out as a family business. And then it became an empire, which decimated all the other small businesses around it, and still is, and sells crappy products anyway. Your ingenuity has to be balanced by understanding. Otherwise, you start to destroy the community. It's a very poignant message. And then, of course, they from which I derive. The Morrigan, the Valkyrie, the women that sit by the water and watch. That is I. As I said, introspection is where we exist. Even though we're walking around in the world, we are deeply, deeply, deeply underground and in the fractals of the plasma around you. We're watching. We're watching, and we're watching the cycles play out. In every interaction, in every opportunity, we hinge on the difference between antipathy and opposition. Do we create action to curtail the unraveling of an action that we can see the outcome of that maybe we don't like, and so we want to affect it? Oh, that becomes very ethically dangerous. Or do we just go, oh, well, nothing can change. I'm just going to sit here in my cave in the dark with my birds and watch it all amusingly. A lot of responsibility being a Morrigan, I have to tell you. All right. So, overall mood that Mark is giving us is, well, the card in the middle is the community card, the master of inspiration. And on both sides of that, we have those forms that operate in the realm of the land that you can't see. You've got the lost over here, and you've got that which has not yet occurred on this side. In the center of that is community. And indeed, how apropos that is for all the changes that we're going through right now. That reestablishment with community. So let me put those aside and let's pull some cards. I'm still called to use the same cards I did before, and this is my new deck that I'm still getting used to. Ooh, it is the Antique Anatomy deck, so still getting used to that. Cards. Mark, can you please tone down this message you have for us, please. You know, I think someone else is starting to come through. Oh, my hands are really starting to hurt. I think someone else. Oh, my hands hurt all of a sudden. It's already saying yes. Is there another frequency form coming through with Mark? That's a pretty big yes. Is this someone else from the Edmund Fitzgerald? Okay. And you're why my hand hurts. Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'll deal with that. Okay. This is what happens when I go and I do my clearing work on the trees. My hands are like burning. I mean, burning. There's so much energy that is coming through my hands when I work on the trees. And that's kind of what this feels like now. And I'm going to start sweating soon too, which is also what happens when I do frequency work with people. I'm usually drenched in sweat. And that's going to pass through too. Or it's one or the other. Either my hands ache or I'm drenched in sweat. It's hard for me to even hold the cards right now. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it because these individuals have been through a lot, much more than that. So, gentlemen, please give us some information. Please give me the tools to share your information. All right. So these cards are all either anatomical forms or they are tools of surgery. So the card that is representing the querent, so that's us, we are positioned as the, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 7 of Wands. Wow. All right. A lot of conflict. Yes, indeed. And I'm getting Mark and Dawn. The information that Mark and Dawn have for us are cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh! Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 of cups. Holy cow! Elixirs are cups in this deck. So we are in this time of inspirational change and fire and passion and so much is changing, conflict. And our sources that are trying so hard to come through and give us information are represented as the 10 of Cups. And you see it's elixirs. Isn't that perfect? Represented as elixirs. What has occurred, gentlemen, that has brought you into our realm today? Six of Pentacles. A desire to share wealth, an egalitarian desire to share skills of stability opportunities to bring providence. Can be good, can be bad. Can be the sending of federal monies to the poor slaves forced to sit at home. That can also be the Six of Pentacles. But I see it in this case as more of an egalitarian decimation of resources for building of stability. All right. So, gentlemen, how would you define your relationship in the frequency realm with our situation right now? Oh my goodness, the Knight of Pentacles. Well, fascinating. Pentacles and Pentacles. That Knight of Pentacles. He is so easily distracted, you know? This is the card that I use to ask the question, are you going to stand in protection of the opportunity for other people to be creative and successful from a sense of purpose and ethical truth? Or are you going to make sure that you collect your shekels and turn it into a business for yourself? There's that place where you have to question your relationship with community. Is it about understanding or is it about ingenuity? If you're in a position where you're guarding the safety of others to commence in commerce, how far are you going to let your ingenuity go? Is your ingenuity going to turn into, oh, I could get rich doing this? That's what graft is. Like the police who only protect those who pay them. Is that the kind of knight you're going to be? That's a warning to me, big time. If you're too understanding, right, then you're of no use. You're a blob. Right? If you understand with everyone all the time, that's the other side of the seesaw, you're not protecting anyone. You make excuses for everyone. On the other side of that, if you're always looking for an opportunity to make a buck, you have no understanding. You're not a knight. You're not protecting anyone. You're not protecting anything. So here we're in this conflict. Struggles, new inspirations that we're all having to fight for, new ways of thinking. We are evolving, whether we like it or not. And a lot of people don't like it. They don't like it. Some of us, as we evolve, we have physical pain that comes with us as the consciousness comes through me, and as I receive the frequency stronger, it makes my feet hurt, my hands hurt. I have to lay down with headaches because it's just like I'm being blasted with plasma and data, and my little 3D head can only take so much. My nervous system has to be upgraded to handle all the electricity coming through. So it's a warning there is this Ten of Cups bounty that they're bringing us. That's where they are. They live in the Ten of Cups. That's where they live. They live in the Ten of Cups, where all things exist and are seen as the cycles that they are. That's where these messages from Dawn and Mark come from the Ten of Cups. And speaking to us in this time of struggle, where we're learning to use new tools, where we're getting upgrades to receive new information, what kind of knight are you going to be? Gentlemen, what do you see coming forward? Let's see, now we're in the Morrigan realm. Gentlemen, what do you see coming forward that we need to mind? And here we have, here we have the Queen of Pentacles. Don't you love these cards? Look at this. They're just brilliant. What's coming? Queen of Pentacles. She likes nice things. She's a good businesswoman. She's a good leader. She's stable. She's secure. She's grounded. She can be a business exec, or she can have her own homestead. She's not afraid of luxury. She's also not afraid to work hard. But you see how it's a queen, not a king. Because the queens are retaking their place. Queens in the light and queens in the dark. The queens are taking their places back. What's coming? A sense of stability, propriety, potentiality, providence, success from a queenly perspective. Organic. One based on agency. You see, she has 4 arms. A merging of opposites. The Merkaba. The forming and creating the toroid field. The upper and the lower joining together in the light of understanding. It creates its own light. The Merkaba creates its own light. The combining of opposites, swirling in opposite directions, creating their own light and their own balance. That's where we're moving. That's why it hurts so much, because everything has to be rewired. So if we could get a little more clarification on that queen. God, these cards are so beautiful. Seven of Swords. Strategy, boys and girls. Strategy. Some see it as theft. Change of strategy. The 7 of Wands. The struggle in the world of inspiration has moved into execution, into the world of action. 7 to 7. This is good. Thought world. Physical world. Putting the thought to action. This is a good evolution. but we must not be afraid of the complication that that brings. What's harder to handle, the wands or the swords? Probably the swords. But this is where we are. And let's see what's on the other side of that. 7, 7. Sevens on both sides of the queen. In metasymbology, I'm a 7. I'm a 7 of diamonds in metasymbology. 7 is a number. 7's a good number for me. That card of waiting, the chariot, waiting, having the capacity to move through drastic change. I have no problem with 7. So on either side of the Queen of Pentacles, we have swords, thoughts, words, strategy, and we have pentacles. We're not done yet. The wealth is not yet at the harvest. The crops are still ripening on the bush. Look at how this is, I love this. You see, it's 7 different skulls. They each look very distinctive. Each is a unique individual or thought form, and they are coming together in a community of agency. But they're not together yet. They'll be together when they get to that 8. That 8 is the formulation of all of them into the completion of the cycle. So while we're going through this change, pentacles in the money system, in our ideas of security and providence, we have on either side of us the wands moving into the swords, so moving out of the world of thought into the world of action. And we have a warning, not a warning, a reminder, a hearkening to the fact that the crops aren't ripe yet. The jury is still out. They're still debating. So what's coming is the Queen, the Merkaba, the 3, 6, and 9, the toroid field of balance, the blending of beauty and compassion metered on agency, the blending of the two. That is where we're headed. And we are equipped with these tools as we move through that of the evolution of thought to word and strategy. And what is going to be a very successful harvest of a multifaceted potential of tools to execute this new concept of providence. Let's pull the hoodoo deck, which is the ancestor deck, and get 3 cards to close this out, please. I see them. I see Mark and Dawn. I don't see their human forms. I see their plasma. Huh. They're being very patient with me while I try to bring their message to a form of understanding. Can we please have 3 cards to tie this all together from the Hoodoo deck, the deck of the ancestors? Wow. Page of Swords. New ideas, new thoughts. Be gentle. Be patient. Use those swords with care. Remember that we are all connected to a larger system. Be gentle and careful and ethical with those swords. Something new is coming in on the heels of something that is also coming to an end that has caused us many sleepless nights and a great deal of pain and suffering and confusion and distraction. Certainly, these men suffered at the end of their life. The last day of their life was not a good one. They suffered enormously. Their families suffered enormously. And we have been suffering with ideological systems that have done very little to help us, really. But there's something new. It's here. It's here. It has taken the form of action for us. The cycle restarts. It's the Fool. The cycle rebegins. Be mindful in our movement from thought, form, and wand to sword of action. Be mindful. Stay connected to the earth. Stay connected to understanding. Don't be just one who exists in that world of ingenuity to the point where the community no longer exists because everything we're focusing on is ingenuity and us. Stay connected to the earth, daughter of knives. Because that which has brought us great consternation has come to an end. And the cycle begins. Be us as fools. Trusting, faith. Bottom of the deck, 4 of Pentacles. Faith in providence, but also a warning. It is so easy to fall back into the realm of hoarding. Hoarding the wealth one attains. Where is that card? Here we go. Warning. Are you going to be the knight that... Are you going to be, for instance, the security guard who is hired to protect the sanctity of the business to operate and the safety of the customers come in and do business? Or are you going to be the security guard who only works for the people who pays him? What kind of protector of commerce and providence are you going to be? One who makes your personal ingenuity and resource development more important than understanding the needs of the community and a bigger picture? What are you going to be? Same with Four Pentacles. Use your opportunity to build something that exceeds beyond you. Are you going to be the man who douses the water and finds the water tap? And then, like JP Morgan and Tesla, say, if I can't put a meter on it, I'm not going to do it? Or are you going to be the man who opens the well for the community? Warning. Warning. Oh, my goodness. I am exhausted. I'm exhausted. They're smiling. It's already saying yes. I haven't even said it. I was going to ask, gentlemen, have I represented your message correctly? Do you have anything more? No. Thanks, guys. That was intense.